We're entering the halfway point of 2022, and typically whenever we enter June, it's usually E3 season for gaming companies and gaming enthusiasts everywhere. E3's cancelled this year, but that hasn't stopped multiple gaming companies from hosting their own events regardless. Summer Games Fest is taking place throughout the first third of the month. PlayStation's hosting a State of Play on the 2nd, Xbox and Bethesda are holding their own presentation at it on the 12th, the actual fest itself is coming the 9th, and numerous companies like Bandai Namco, Ubisoft, Sega, Capcom, Square Enix, and many more are all partnering with the event and plan to show off multiple of their games during it. And for a while, you might have gotten a spare video out of me prior to this, given Nintendo's recent news droppings these past few months. Breath of the Wild 2 delay, but oh, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 got a new trailer and release date. Splatoon 3 release date and trailer. Both it and Xenoblade basically swapping release windows. New Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes info and trailers. Mario Strikers Battle League overview trailer. A lot of this stuff being major news and info drops that would have fit snugly and perfectly in a June Direct. Little bit of a gray area when looking at Mario Strikers' release date, but still. And even with the fact that we have unknowns and questions pertaining to Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, Bayonetta 3, other games, and plenty of potential new games we have no idea of at this moment, a few of which I'll get into in the predictions, it's still left a potential idea, at least in my mind, that Nintendo might not do a June Direct and will just drop trailers and infomercials on the fly, similar to how they went about their 2020, but with all the other companies chipping into Summer Games Fest, and the recent announcement of Pokémon Company confirming a new trailer for Scarlet and Violet coming tomorrow by the time I'm recording this, June 1st at 9 AM Eastern Standard Time, unless I'm mistaken, it's vaguely giving me the impression Nintendo might do a normal Direct like they usually do, as they tend to follow up with one about a week after Pokemon drops their own details on their own upcoming games at the start of June. That's been a regular thing between the two parties for quite some time now. Factoring this and all the other companies in Summer Games Fest, I feel like Nintendo will stick to their usual trend of June Directs, even with E3 out of the picture this year. It can always not happen. I could be wasting away at this predictions video for a presentation that might end up not taking place after all. I'd be fine whether or not we did get one, but I'll cover my bases and play it safe and say, we're probably going to get one and make my predictions now, then scrambling to make some if they announce it and it's less than 24 hours or something from that announcement or a day or two from then. You get the picture. And before we get into the Nintendo general-ish predictions, a few bases I'll cover right now. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's trailer, I predict it'll give us a look at the starters in-game, not just their artwork, we got a look at them last time, but their in-game models, them moving around, their animations and such, maybe the battling. We'll get a look at a handful of other new Pokemon, a couple of new characters, the professor, your rival, a gym leader or two, a few NPCs, another look at the region, and I think we'll get a specific release date, my guess being the middle of November. That's typically when Pokemon releases new games, November 18th, 2022, or something like that wouldn't surprise me. And on Summer Games Fest, Sega confirmed they're pulling up for that. It's been an entire year since we got our first tease on Sonic Frontiers, half a year since the gameplay tease, and literally as I'm typing this, the official Sonic YouTube page just dropped a 30-second gameplay video. So yeah, we're getting a proper trailer on Frontier soon, for sure. A trailer that'll reveal actual gameplay stuff, how Sonic will move and control in this big world, what kind of gameplay will either make up or be adapted and modified for this game, maybe another glimpse at the story for the game, but hopefully just more gameplay stuff, seeing Sonic move, some mechanics and details specific to this game, more looks at the world itself and other locales. With either a release date slated for this holiday or a potential delay into next year, I feel like at this moment it's kind of 50-50 on one or the other. All that Sonic stuff is stuff I'm predicting before actually watching that small gameplay snippet, just keep that in mind. But with that out of the way, assuming there's one coming within the next week or two, let's predict Nintendo's June 2022 Direct, their quote-unquote E3 Direct under normal circumstances. Alright, time to see how many of you either click off or roast me for starting off with the big one I usually end on in these predictions, but to a slightly safer angle, I think we're going to get our tease at the next 3D Mario game. I've made at least 2 videos now, one way back in 2018 on what I think a sequel to Mario Odyssey could do, Super Mario Odyssey 2, stuff I think it could benefit from doing and how it can expand on some of the ideas and worlds the original game introduced, and another back in March of this year talking about how the idea could still happen for various reasons, but I'm leaving my mind more and more open to the idea of a different 3D Mario taking place. Odyssey 2, Sunshine 2, Galaxy 3, a proper expansion and full Mario game surrounding the structure and foundation of Bowser's Fury, some completely different 3D Mario adventure altogether with completely unique and original ideas and such. There's always plenty of ways and methods Nintendo can go about making a new 3D Mario game, but I'm fairly sure a lot of us are anticipating a new 3D Mario of some kind at this point. It's been almost 5 years since Odyssey came out. Most 3D Marios take around that much time for new ones to come out. It's like one of the safest assumptions that Nintendo's always thinking of and creating the next big Mario game, whether 2D or 3D. Almost every major 2017 release is also getting a sequel, and some of which, like Zelda, being the biggest releases for their franchises ever, Mario Odyssey being the biggest 3D Mario in scope, popularity, and sales, especially for 3D Mario. Again, there's way too much favoring why Nintendo would want to humor another 3D Mario on the Switch, Odyssey 2 or not. You guys know how much I love Mario games, especially 3D Mario, so literally any 3D Mario anything gets announced, I have a 99.99999% chance of losing my mind at whatever it could be. But I'll stick to my guns and still say it's Odyssey 2. The myriad of reasons why I believe such are reasons I've explained to death plenty before. You could check for yourselves. A new 3D Mario period I think would be big and something that'll get millions of people excited, and whichever kind of 3D Mario it is, I think they'd save it for the end of the Direct and slate that game to come out next year in 2023. A new 3D Mario at all I think is something most of us can semi-agree on. I'm still betting on it being Odyssey 2. Keeping the Mario ball rolling, some much safer predictions. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass. It's been almost 3 months since Wave 1 came out. I suspected they're going to drop each new wave more or less per season, since the DLC is stretching all the way out to the end of next year. It's very likely they'll reveal the Turnip and Propeller Cup tracks, Wave 2, and they'll release those within the next month or two. Pining harder for Mushroom Gorge to be in the Propeller Cup than anything else. I've already made my predictions on what tracks will be chosen for the rest of the DLC, and most of them are still true to that video. Most. I don't expect the tracks to get visually touched up either as much as how the tracks visually got plenty of backlash. I don't think they're going to go out of their way to do that. Tons of people bought the pass anyways, having fun still. I feel like the whole graphics thing's something more people are just going to have to get used to over time given Wave 1's reception, and nothing about it was done since. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC Wave 2 though, it's probably a super safe given. Mario Strikers Battle League got official confirmation of getting post-launch updates like Tennis Aces and Golf Super Rush, and there was a data mined of there being 10 extra characters planned for that. I think we'll get the announcement of the first one, maybe 2 characters, but at least 1, and the first character I'm pretty sure is going to be Daisy. Tons of people for sure made sure they were not happy Daisy's not a part of the base roster for the game. Having her kick off the updates as the first post-launch character makes the most sense in my mind, and I did talk about the entire model itself in its own video, but it's really starting to show more and more Nintendo fans are not that big on the model, given this is another Mario Sports spin-off using it, and it did not help Tennis Ace's case, and especially not Golf Super Rush's case at all, with the model, and trying to add more longevity to the games themselves. Hoping Battle League can suffice at launch and the updates come at solid rates, but yeah, them showing off the first post-launch character and it being Daisy would make a lot of sense. And Mario + Rabbids Sparks of Hope, that's a game we've not gotten any updates on for almost an entire year now. Ubisoft's going to be at the Summer Games Fest, so it's probably super safe to say anything on that game will get shown off there. I think we'll get a look at a new world for the game, more of the combat. The website itself mentioned a roster of 9 playable characters, and we got 8 last time, so I think they'll show off the 9th and last playable character, and I think the release date for the game will get pushed to October this fall. With how long it's been since our last peek at the game, and this game is supposedly slated for this upcoming season, I'm questioning how true that may be. It could still come out this summer at any point for sure. Well, we got our first look at Kingdom Battle E3 2017, and it came out 2.5 months later. Same could apply for Sparks of Hope. But yeah, I'm fairly sure that's all the Mario predictions I could think of for the event. Well, yes and no, because I do have one that's kind of bold-ish. I think we're going to get our look at the next Donkey Kong game. It's been rumored to be a 3D game, in-house at Nintendo, by the Odyssey team. Unsure how true or false those rumors may or may not be. I do think we are due for a brand new Donkey Kong game of some kind. Tropical Freeze, godlike game. I personally would be fine with either a new 2D or 3D game, but I do feel a new 3D game is what Donkey Kong really needs to be put in that massive spotlight Mario, Zelda, Kirby, Pokemon, etc. are basking in right now to give that franchise a huge push that it does definitely deserve. A trailer or tease of some kind would be cool. I don't know if it would come out this year. DK does deserve a new game and a new banger of a game too. Breath of the Wild 2 got that singular update video announcing it was getting delayed to next year, so another safe one, no trailer. Maybe in a September Direct, but if they dropped that delay announcement not that long ago, I think it was like a month ago, it's bound to imply to a considerable length that that also means do not expect Breath of the Wild 2 gameplay this June. I feel like the vast majority of us came to that conclusion. One semi-bullish prediction, I think we're gonna get our first trailer, like a genuine trailer, on Metroid Prime 4 finally. That game restarted development over 3 years ago. It got that video on its own, like Breath of the Wild 2 did, but with Prime 4, it was restarted development from scratch. That was over 3 years ago. I don't think if we got a trailer or new info on the game, that it would come out this year, but I do think some trailer is due for that game to capitalize what's left on the Metroid Dread hype, and to get more people looking forward to next year. I feel like that much is decently realistic. Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes comes out in less than a month, so I'd imagine some trailer or infomercial saying to look out for that game would make sense. Similar case for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and Splatoon 3. Xenoblade comes out in less than 2 months, so another trailer promoting the game again would benefit and make sense. Maybe a little more for Splatoon 3, because take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt, as I've not played Splatoon 1 or 2, but one thing I've been consistently hearing from plenty of people anticipating 3 is, despite how solid and cool Splatoon 3 looks, it's missing some big hook, some big mechanical pull that could separate it more from 2 and really convince people to splurge on this new entry, given from what I hear, beyond some cosmetics and weapons and some of the maps I think, a lot of the major mechanics, modes, and other stuff is directly derived from Splatoon 2. So I think that pull will get revealed here if we get that direct, that thing people want to really get them to really want Splatoon 3. I think we're due to find out very soon. Also a game we're due for more info on, Bayonetta 3. It's been over 8 months since our first trailer, and the game's still aimed to come out this year. So I would imagine they have to have more trailers and details on the game ready if it's still coming out this year. June would be a good time to unveil such. Smaller stuff, Cuphead DLC comes out at the end of the month, so we'll probably get a trailer or a reminder of some sort on that. Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp keeps getting pushed back, but I don't know how much longer they could keep that up at this rate, with these other bigger projects still dropping anyways and swapping release dates around. But I do think they'll probably set a release date for the middle of summer this time and stick to that. Fall Guys recently announced it'll be dropping on all platforms closer to the end of this month and will be free to play. I think it might have a mini search on the Switch with Nintendo's audience more than the other platforms, but it'll likely get a spot to remind people it's coming in a matter of weeks. Probably No Man's Sky, probably Front Mission First Remake, probably the Klonoa remakes, and probably a whole slew of more third parties and indies I can't think of or escaped my mind, but that's always a given, so I'm laying my bet down anyways now. And the last things I'll end on are 2 predictions, both I'm sure I've made before. One, ARMS 2. That's the other 2017 major release of Nintendo yet to get a sequel, and yet it sold very well, especially for a new IP, over 2 million. Min went and got added to Smash, like it's in the ballpark of getting a new installment, and I feel like it's possible, but I don't think they release a sequel this soon. Will we get a trailer? Maybe. I think it's possible. I'm unsure how much I'd want to place my bets on it happening, but I would indeed like a sequel. 60-40? 65-35? Somewhere around there, I guess? The comic got cancelled, so any expansion on the ARMS world and characters would be awesome. An expansion and restructure of some of the gameplay would be cool, and it would likely benefit a sequel. ARMS getting a sequel would make plenty of sense to me. And the last one is that there was some listing. I can't recall where. It was pretty recent, but Nintendo listed Bandai Namco to remake a 3D action game of theirs, something along those lines. The best news about that kind of news/leak or what have you, the potential IPs that fit that description are cult classics or beloved, so a good chunk of games that fit that bill would make a good and big crowd happy. As for the game, 3D action game, you know a certain Uprising fits that bill to a T, so like Nintendo. Bandai Namco, you know how baller a remake of Kid Icarus Uprising would be? If it does happen, I don't know if it will be announced here or whichever game they might end up remaking, likely saved for next year I'd imagine if it does end up getting announced. Whether here or fall, I don't know. Man, if Namco is remaking an old Nintendo game, and especially if it's Kid Icarus Uprising, ooh, you would not hear the end of it from me. I would be the most obnoxious person on the planet. And there you have it. If not Odyssey 2, then a new 3D Mario game tease of some kind, more Mario Kart 8 DLC news, Mario Strikers post-launch update info, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope new trailer, info and release date, a new DK game, new trailer on Metroid Prime 4, more info on Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Splatoon 3, new Bayonetta 3 trailer and release date, ARMS 2 trailer, maybe the Bandai Namco 3D action game remake, but that's a big maybe. Praying more for it being Kid Icarus. Plenty of info and new deets on third-party stuff and indie stuff. And not that many no's or I don't think so's this time. But no Breath of the Wild 2 is one I think a lot of us probably had going into this June. Alright, who's ready to talk about who's reasonable or not? Who will end up being right or wrong about any of these, or the fact we may or may not get it direct at all in the comments, and who's gonna be that one guy who's gonna roast me? It's like, my guy, these predictions were so safe. This was the most boring predictions video of all time. Why don't you why didn't you predict F-Zero? New Wario Land? New Dr. I don't know, dude. Sometimes I get that one comment. It's like, dog, I make these predictions for like what I think is probably gonna happen. I don't make these to just make the most off-the-wall, insane, bizarro picks. Like, some find that entertaining. That's not what I think's gonna happen, though. That's the thing. And there's gonna be a lot of people who will argue which is more realistic than the other. I've had plenty of comments say I'm in denial or stupid for thinking Odyssey 2 could still happen or whatever, right? So all of us have different degrees of what's more or less realistic or whatever. But my whole thing is I'm going with what I think could potentially happen or what's realistic. I'm not gonna clickbait and make all these crazy predictions or thumbnails or whatever the hell of all these crazy different like games and series of franchises. Like, I could have predicted Breath of the Wild 2 for all I know, but like, dog, we literally just got that update for the delay for the game. You think I'm gonna predict and say we're gonna get Breath of the Wild 2 news when we just got a video saying the exact opposite, basically, you know? Otherwise, let's chat about this down below. What are your predictions for this whole direct? Do you think we're gonna get a direct at all? I feel like that should be the baseline for us talking about this. Do you think we're gonna get a direct at all? We'll talk about that, and if you do, then let me know what you guys think is gonna be dropped for this quote-unquote E3 Direct. Pre-3! I would've called this Pre-3 if E3 wasn't cancelled, so I have to call this June Direct. And I'm not used to that, which is weird to say. Thank you for watching and listening, and you can bet your money if there is one soon, I'll be talking about it and the announcements plenty. Beyond that, you got some Mario, Mario Kart, Pokémon, and Sonic content to look forward to very soon. Stay super.
Yo, hey, 妹妹，嘿，我来呀！共和大哈哈呀！拉面，嘿，来面，来个面，共和再见呀！哈哈，拉面，炸酱面，谢谢。